Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this how to play video I'm going to take a look at Even Warlock. If you were to put Warlock decks on a line between how hard they hit face and how fast, then Zoo would be the aggressive type. But after that, Even Warlock is the second most aggressive Warlock archetype that you can play, and then Cubelock and Control Warlock come somewhere behind that one. And that's because of the super explosive power of Mountain Giant, combined with that 1-mana hero power from the Gen Greymane's effect. What this means is that if you're on the play, you can play a Mountain Giant on turn 4, and you have also been able to develop a 2-drop on turn 3. So a very powerful and explosive opener, and if you're on the coin, you can play a Mountain Giant already on turn 3. It should therefore come as no surprise that Mountain Giant is actually the best card to mulligan for with this deck in almost every matchup. It's only against something very aggressive, like if you're facing an odd paladin, that Mountain Giant is not the highest win rate card that you could mulligan for. In addition to the Mountain Giants, there are a few other powerful plays that Even Warlock can do. The alternative early game strong minion is the Twilight Drake. So if you can't find your giants but you can find your drakes, you still have some things that you can accomplish here. And you're also playing with your life total a lot. You're obviously tapping a lot with this deck, so you're lowering your life total with that. You're lowering your life total with Hellfire. You're lowering your life total with Vulgar Homunculus. And you can also lower your life total a little bit with the Dread Infernal. And all of these moves will buff up your spellstones if you have a spellstone in hand. So with this deck it's particularly important to also think about how you tap and when you damage yourself, so that you have as many cards as possible when you deal damage to yourself, so that you have the highest chance to have found a spellstone that you can then buff. And in addition to buffing the spellstones, once you hit that 15 health, the Hooked Reaver becomes a 7/7 with Taunt. So even though this is not quite a handlock of old, it still involves some playing around with your health total and trying to use that to your advantage. Once the game goes a bit longer, you will have more threats at your disposal. There's the Dread Infernal, even Gen Greymane is sometimes a pretty decent buddy, and there is a Bone Mare and Lich King. Lich King is obviously very powerful and it can give you some cards that can really turn the game in your favor. And Bone Mare is another interesting one, because you have these some mid-sized minions. You have the Shroom Brewers, some even a bit smaller like the Sun Fury and the Beetle. And Bone Mare can be used to activate those in the later game to become viable threats on their own right. The deck also has a pretty good removal package, considering that it's so packed with threats, because you have the Hellfires, you also have the Defiles, and you have the Spellstones. So that's a fair bit of removal, and there's also a silence effect in Spellbreaker, there's a small AoE in Dread Infernal, there's also removal of these tricky one-cost spells such as Omega Assembly and Naturalize in the form of Skulking Geist. And this list is still packing on Mossy Horror, even though it's now mostly against Spreading Plague. Whether Mossy Horror really deserves a spot as a tech card is at this moment still undetermined. We'll see how it will all play out once the post-nerfs meta has stabilized. And as one final threat, there is the Bloodreaver Gul'dan. This deck doesn't resurrect a whole lot of demons. There's 2 copies of Homunculus, there's 2 copies of Hooked Reaver, and there's a Dread Infernal. So the most demons you can get from Gul'dan is 5, but still it's something on the board, and the hero power will get to work at that point as well. Do note that Hooked Reaver resurrects as a 4/4. It can never gain the Battlecry effect from the Gul'dan Resurrect, so sorry, no 7/7 taunts from that one. When you mulligan with this deck, you really want to think whether you're the aggressor or the defender. If you're the aggressor, you always keep the giants, you keep the drakes. In some matchups like against the druid, you might even consider keeping something like a Lich King, so that you can ensure that you will have enough threats. Whereas if you're defending, you're looking for Hellfire, you may be looking for Defile, you're looking for Beetle, Homunculus. Then it starts to depend on the matchup. If you're playing against a weapon class, Acidic Swampus can be a good keep. If you're playing against Deathrattles, having access to a Spellbreaker can be important. As always, I've prepared a bunch of gameplay material of this deck for you, so let's go take a look at Even Warlock in action. Beetle can be played on tree. I can't play the beetle. It's okay. It's still okay. It's actually Even Shaman. Does that mean that I have to ditch the Mountain Giant plan and instead go for a beetle on 2? To try to prevent some snowballing here. I think it does mean exactly that. I don't think I can go with the Giant plan against Even Shaman when they can just get such good board control. Would Hellfire have made it easier? Maybe you could argue that because I had Hellfire, it would have been fine. Too bad I don't have a Spellstone in hand. I guess I'll still go for the Homunculus here. Let's try this out. Just trying to pressure him with those tools that I have here.
Winter is here.
That Corpse Taker is powerful though. Can I take something like 10 from this if he gets to buff it? And can I afford to throw Hellfire into this though? I don't think I can. I think let's just take away the Divine Shield for now. And develop the Drake. So there's still something on the way that he will have to deal with, so I'm not taking the full brunt of the attack. But I should still be able to deal with this, even if he has some buffs for it. What if it's a 7/7? It still dies next turn. It's fine if he double Earth and mites it. I don't mind. Now it's even vulnerable to just this Twilight Drake that I played, which was kind of the idea here. But Flametongue Totem? Direwolf Alpha. That's cool. I don't mind. I'm completely fine with this. I get to kill the Corpse Taker. He had not taken any damage anyway, so life still didn't matter. I get rid of his Corpse Taker. I can also tap into a Shroom Brewer on the Twilight Drake, I believe. I suppose I'm fine being at 19 for the moment. I'm getting a bit closer to playing the Hooked Reaver. But I want to heal up there. So then I have 4/4 and 4/5. He has lots of ways to deal 2 damage, deal 3 damage. Not so many ways to deal 4 or 5. Now I need to ask myself whether I think I need to... Because there are those 2 and 3 damage plays. Whether I think I need to Hellfire. I can tap into a Hooked Reaver. If I kill these, my minions will be at 2 health, both of them, right? Or at 1 and 3. 1 and 3 is slightly better. That would mean like Fire Elemental kill on 1, but no double 2-drop kills on both. Yeah, I think I still believe. I believe in going for that 1 health and 3 health. Obviously this one hits first. Let's go for that 1 health and 3 health place. And get the Reaver down there. Now obviously there are ways for him to kill the Reaver. But I don't think there are ways for him to clear all this stuff. He can clear 1 minion pretty easily. But even clearing 2 is kind of difficult already. I think that was a good line to take. I kind of don't want to Hellfire this board. If I don't want to do that, then what do I want to do? If I put this down to 3 health, that's also a little bit awkward. This one go down to 1. That'll be fine. This can be at 4. That sounds good.
Must destroy.
But I can tap into the Giant. It's okay to go down to 13 right now. Let's tap into the giant play. Put this one down to 4 health. This one can go down to 1 health. And I can also develop a beetle. So I have some way to regain health afterwards. No Kalimos plays available yet. Kalimos AoE can be available next turn. That is something I need to keep in mind. He had that double 2 damage play there. And he played an elemental, so there is Kalimos play available. So many alternatives. He can also have hexes in hand. I mean, I could hit there and defile this board. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place the Mountain Giant at 4. Then I could also play again. So I would have 4 health Mountain Giant. I think that's actually a pretty solid play. Full health Mountain Giant and again on the board. I quite like that. So we're going for the defile. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we get to push 8 to face and develop a 6-5. So I have an 8-4, I have a 6-5. I'm at 16. Alakir doesn't do many things here. Argent Commander is slightly better. Argent Commander is pretty sweet. Not all lists include Argent Commander, but obviously it's always something that you need to keep in mind. I don't have a very good kill on the Argent Commander. Obviously now Kalimos is offline, for example. Yes, I could do like Dread Infernal to kill this. Then Argent Commander has a clean trade available. I still think that's a fine play. I do Dread Infernal into Sun Fury. Do I just taunt this one? Yeah, I'll taunt just the... I will taunt just the 6/6. He could obviously have a Hex, but he can't play Hex Fire Elemental, and he's used... Well, he does have a Merkspark Eel left. He could have a Flame Tongue Totem to push through here. He could have a second Merkspark Eel. There are still things he can do. Probably needs the Flame Tongue Totem or the Eel. Well, this just leaves him dead. Because that's 12 and that's 3. It's enough just to Hellfire. And then we hit face. Beautiful. So it's either Even Lock or it's 2. I think I'll keep the Hellfire in case it's 2. I just can't be so confident that it's going to be Even Lock. Although, I suppose it is still the most likely option. It is not an Even Lock. Alright. Well, if he doesn't have Kelazet, I do have a Hellfire. So that's something. I could use some other cards too. Having more cards would be useful skill to have. Oh dear, something big is coming. That's a big ghoul. So that's already 10 damage. I can't afford to tap here. I probably just died in this game. I would have needed something. Beetle, Homunculus. Just generally something would have been needed. Because this probably is not survivable. I don't think. Most likely not survivable. And I'll do this. But then what? I'm still in a ton of trouble. Or alternatively, I'm simply dead to the Leroy. That's a turn for lethal. I think I'll still mulligan for the giant. Let's see. I probably would have kept like a Hellfire. But exchanging 3 cards
Turned our curse into our
in an attempt to find it, I believe, should be sufficient. He mulliganed his entire hand. So let's see.
truth is found in death.
Keläiset on tyyriin. But what can you do? That's the name of the game. And it will be fun. I could kill the egg to prevent him from doing things with it, but I think I will try this approach. Now, obviously, if he has Plated and the Stalker, or double Plated or something like that in hand, that's going to be huge. Hunter's Mark is also useful. Don't have particular reasons to believe he would have it. So he does not have Plated and he does not have the Terror-Scale Stalker, because he would have always used them on the egg. If he did. Equipped with that read, we're going to play the Twilight Drake here. I don't want to silence the egg yet and give him a good flanking strike, when I know he doesn't have a way to pop the Deathrattle here. And here I believe I have a couple of options. I could coin the Geist, make sure that he cannot get Plated, cannot get more Hunter's Marks. Or I can go for something like Shroom Brewer and Beetle to have more stuff on the board. I think the Geist is good enough here. I take away the Pladeds, the Trackings, the Hunter's Marks. So make it more difficult for him to get things done with his Deathrattles. Now that's an interesting one. He can obviously still have cubes. I think I have to kill that one. And I will lose a minion then. I have the option to play more minions on the board, so that I could lose something less important. But I still think I don't want to silence yet. So I can play a Beetle here. And then I can hit there and see what dies. And depending on what dies, I can play a Shroom Brewer. And in this case, heal up the Drake. He can obviously find the Terror-Scale Stalker. He can find Katrina. He took this opportunity to use that. I think I'm fine with that one. I don't mind. So many Uzis in hand. Katrina could come down next turn. What do I do when Katrina comes? Oh, I want to buff up my Spellstone before that happens. I think I'm taking a trade here. This one is pushing face. I can play the Homunculus. Does he run Mind Control Tech though? Some of these lists run Mind Control Tech nowadays. There are some risks involved if there's a Mind Control Tech. Especially if he steals the Drake. I think I'll still go for this line. Mind Control Tech is the punish, but this is the best against Katrina. There's the Katrina. There's a King Crush. Now that's what I'm talking about. So I need to silence the Katrina and I need to kill the King Crush, right? What if he cubes the Katrina? I need to kill the Katrina too. Oh, I won't have much of a board left after this one. I don't think I can help it.
Your magic shall not save you.
I can't let him cube a King Crush. But I can't let him cube a Katrina. So I have to kill those. This opens up more flanking strike opportunities. Maybe some other opportunities too. Not the worst Mossy Horror in the world either. So if I hit and I hit and I Hellfire and I play the Reaver, that's quite alright, isn't it? How low can I afford? I can afford to go lower. 7 cards in hand. I can tap first. I'll hit and I'll hit. And I'll Hellfire. And I'll play the Reaver. So I get a 7-7 against his 3-5. I've dealt with the X, I've dealt with Katrina, I've dealt with King Crush. And then comes the Deathstalker Rexa. We'll see how this one goes from here. It all depends. All depends on what he's going to find with his beasts. I have one Homunculus. Just one Homunculus in the Gul'dan. Gul'dan isn't very powerful right now. That's a bit inconvenient. Can I go down to 12? I think I have to. Need to find some good cards to play like this. I'll smack him in the face. That's kind of the type of things that I need to do. So this is 15 damage, so I don't have a lethal setup here. 15 plus 3 plus 3. I need to play one Ooze now. Because that could give me a lethal setup with a Hellfire top deck. No Hellfire top deck. Mossy can kill this one. I probably need to use Giant to kill the Grizzly, right? To protect my taunt a little bit here. Mossy will come down to kill off the Zombie Beast. Giants will smack down the Grizzly. And the rest of the damage is going face. And I'll play a Homunculus there too. Let's try this approach. He actually had a mind control tech. I thought he didn't because he was offered a chance to play it earlier, so I figured he wouldn't have one. Let's try. Let's see what happens.
Turned our curse into our strength.
He doesn't want to let his Omega simply be geisted away. He wants the value immediately. Okay. That's cool. He may or may not have a Shield Slam. He doesn't have any cards that he would have kept. So there's no particular reason for me to assume that there's a Shield Slam. But obviously Shield Slam is always possible. So I will try with the Giant and we will see if he has that removal piece. I don't think I have another good line of play here. He had the Shield Slam. That's sad, but what can you do? Sometimes they have it. I'll play double Homunculus here. I tried to get my health lower so that I could get to a Hooked Reaver. I'm into 10 cards. Playing a Twilight Drake. I don't even want to hit there. I could hit once there. I think it's okay. Just trying to find a way to pressure. So far I'm not finding it, but I might. It can happen. Need to try to play around mind control tech. Well, he can obviously potentially also silence the Twilight Drake to turn it into a 4-1, because that deck definitely runs at least one Owl. But we're going to find out about that soon enough. It's just a Super Collider. I don't mind a Super Collider really, because I have the Ooze. So I'm obviously oozing the Super Collider here. Would I want to silence the Hatchling so that he doesn't get the card into his deck? Celiax is the other value silence target. Now I think I'll just hit there. And I'll play a Shroom Brewer on the Drake. This way I will again have 3 minions on the board. And 1 Super Collider has been dealt with. And the small minion is here in between. It's nice use of Reckless Flurry, I suppose. I can try to get my health lower. I can try to get Gen out there to potentially get some more pressure. I still need to get my health a fair bit lower though in order to get the Hooked Reaver value. What taunt was he able to pick up? Oh, he has an Elise. That's cute. Now I have 10 cards in hand. Was that a bit too fast? That might have been a bit too fast of a move. Because I have 10 cards in hand. So if I play Lich King, I'll burn a card. I don't want to do that. I could also just throw away the coin. Get the Lich King out there, ask him if he has an answer. Yeah. It's all about asking for those answers. So we're asking now. Obviously Elise is on the board. So he would only need another 3 damage to this. He could even have another Super Collider. He can have Shield Slam, he can have Flurry. Shield Slam is beautiful if he almost up into Shield Slam. He's only 10 cards into his deck. So it's not that likely. Especially as he has already spent 1. He had a second Super Collider. That is so very sweet for him. Does he even want to attack though? No, yeah, of course he attacks into that. That's obvious. Okay, I can play the Dread Infernal, then I have the tap play for next turn. We go with the Dread Infernal now. And we take away the second Super Collider. I have 8 cards in hand, so I can also I can actually afford to tap here. Then I don't necessarily have to tap next turn. If I had tapped first, I would have upgraded this Spellstone, so that was a bit of a mistake. Let's see, we've dealt with 2 Super Colliders now. That's something. We've seen 1 Reckless Flurry, but there's still another Flurry and a couple of Brawls left. So this fellow is a prime candidate to getting silenced, which is exactly what I think will happen here.
Your magic shall not save
You can keep your 111 minion, while I will be punching you in the face. Nine cards in hand. That's fine. Actually here, I could have killed off this one first in order to get another bigger minion on the board. That was definitely an option. So is this a defile turn? It's going to be 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 after Spellbreaker, so I would have to sacrifice both of these minions if I want to defile these, and that would leave the Dread Infernal at 2 health. I can let it go just to 3 by hitting into this one first. That's an option.
Destroy.
I think that's a reasonable option. So we hit there, and we hit there, and then we defile this board. And then I can play a Bone Mare on this one, so that I can take away all the armor. So that I don't have to leave any armor, even though he used a shield block.
I've got the beast in my sight.
Oh, a big game hunter. And that was a bit of a surprise. I have to say I was slightly surprised by that. 3 damage from Death and Decay is not enough to kill the Daihon Matriarch, even with this. I could push in enough with the Defile. That'd be 5, and I can still develop. 7/7. That's how I'm looking at this right now. Or do I want to deal more damage to my own face? Do I just want to go with Hellfire now? I think I can also go with just Hellfire here. That's an acceptable use of my mana. And then I can defile, and then I can play the Hooked Reaver. So this way I will have a 7/7 on the board again. And I get rid of the Daihon Matriarch, and I will have some better spellstones available. He found his Ungoro pack when he had 16 cards left in the deck. That's pretty solid stuff. What can you do when that happens? Not a whole lot, not a whole lot. But I can play a Mountain Giant here. And I can Spellstone away his Taunt. And I can push another 7 to face. So, what the back gives, the back gives. I can't affect that. All I can do is play with the cards that I have. And then we'll see if the back gives him a win. Let's see what the back decided. So that's fine. Don't quite have it here. If I had not misplayed with the Spellstone, I would be able to Spellstone this one. Clean, nice and clean here. Now I don't get it quite as clean, but I'll do what I have to do. That's 7 mana. I can afford to tap 2. So we Spellstone. And we Death and Decay. And we push in as much damage as we can. Put him down to 3. I can also play a 3rd minion. That's acceptable. Let's play a 3rd minion. Okay. This turn, warrior, what do you have now? This makes his brawls better. I gave him a better brawl. I've done 2 sloppy plays in this game. This actually puts him one out of reach, but then I find the Hellfire. And then we are able to kill this warrior. Good. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.